Geologists have known for decades that there are large deposits of natural gas trapped in very big rock formations in the earth, deep in the Earth's surface. So this natural gas wasn't actually accessible by drilling directly downward. And so the process that I'm going to talk to you guys about today is actually involving drilling horizontally. You should listen to me because fracking has a direct and indirect effect on our economy and our environment, and thus our natural resources. Many people don't know what fracking is. At the first mention of fracking, a lot of people don't really have too much knowledge of it or don't really know what it means. So if people don't really know what fracking is, it's hard for them to understand how fracking can affect them directly or indirectly. And if people don't know how fracking can affect them, then they won't know whether to be for it or against it. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about fracking. There are three things that I'm going to talk to you guys about pertaining to fracking. The first thing that I'm going to talk to you guys about is the history of fracking in the United States. The second thing that I'm going to talk to you guys about is the technology of fracking and how it works. The third thing that I'm going to talk to you guys about is how fracking affects our economy and our environment today. So, fracking is not new technology. It's actually been carried out in the U.S. for over 60 years now. According to the U.S. Geology Survey of 2009, according to the U.S. Geology Survey of 2009, the equipment designed to drill horizontal wells was actually patented, and that patent was filed in 1919. It wasn't until 1929 that the first successful horizontal wells were drilled. And according to Hobart King, publisher of Geology Now, 2015, there was experimentation with fracking that commenced in the 1930s, leading to the first commercial application in 1949. So this first application, commercial application, took place in what's called the Barnett Shale of Texas. This was actually the largest natural gas field developed in a shale rock reservoir. And with shale, to put it in very simple terms, what shale is a type of rock. It's a sedimentary rock that's located deep in the Earth's crust, and it's well below our groundwater source. It's made up of compacted, very thin layers of rock that has porous gaps in it that contain that natural gas. So at that time, it was a challenge for the drillers to extract that gas because the pores inside the shale rock are so small that it was hard for that gas to exit. And so the drillers found that they could extract this natural gas by not only drilling horizontally, but by pumping water down these wells that they were drilling at a very high pressure really quickly. And what this did was it actually fractured these pores and pretty much broke them up, made them bigger, and allowed the gas to exit and be processed. So this leads me into my next point. Now that I've talked about the history of it, there were a lot of technological advances in the process of many years technology. And so now I'm going to talk to you guys about the actual technology, how it works. So what fracking involves is drilling approximately anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 feet downward. Once the drilling downward is it's gotten to the known layer of shale, then the drill is made to change direction, and it's then made to drill horizontally across the shale layer. So after this is done, there is a gun drill, what they call a gun drill, which this apparatus actually does is they run it through the pipe. After the well's been done, they run pipe and they bring that gun apparatus all the way down to the end of the well. And what this gun does is it has explosives in it. What that does to the pipe is when the explosives are set off, is it basically creates perforations at the end of that pipe. This way, what they can do is they can access all that shale at one time, and it's more efficient than what the conventional fracking was, which was only vertical. So now what they've done is they've made it more cost efficient, they've made it quicker, they've made it, they can access a lot more of it at one time, and therefore use a lot more surface area underground. There's an estimated 13.3 trillion cubic meters of accessible natural gas in the US alone. So, what is actually in the solution of fracking? What it is it's 90% water and sand, and 10% of it is other chemicals, biocides. Biocides usually contain ethane, methane, and various other components. So now that I've talked to you guys a bit about the technology, I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about how fracking itself actually affects us today in the communities that we live. And not only that, but also a lot of us are growing up to kind of vote for certain legislation and whatnot. So it's it's important to know a little bit more about the actual effects that it has on our economy as well as our environment. So the Chemistry Council, according to the Chemistry Council 2011, there's been a 25% increase in ethane supply. There's been a 25% increase in ethane supply, mostly because of the amount of cheaper natural gas. And this is actually going to create an estimated 40,000 American jobs. So it's obviously a very profitable natural resource. And at the same time, the fracking industry is plagued by environmental issues. One of the biggest environmental issues that plagues the fracking industry is the pollution of our groundwater and surface water resources. So what it is that the fracking industry is not required to disclose what's in their chemical solutions, and this is because back in 2009. The leading fracking company, which was Halliburton, was actually, the CEO was Dick Cheney. At the time, he was vice president, so he allowed, he advocated for what's called the Halliburton loophole, which allows the fracking industry to avoid the Safe Drinking Water Act. And that means that they don't have to disclose the chemicals that are in it. So that's kind of scary if you guys think about anything that they want to put in it, they don't have to disclose any of that information. And obviously because of the drilling and Wells are not foolproof. A lot of people are concerned that these chemicals can reach our groundwater and surface water sources. So now that I've talked to you guys a bit more about I've talked to you guys about the history of fracking, the technology of fracking, how it works, and I've also talked to you guys about how it can affect our economy and our environment. I advise all you to, well, maybe next time that you are, when you hear about fracking, you'll not only know what it is, but you'll also be a little bit more aware of what standing point you have in it, so whether you're for it or against it. And you'll be able to also, in the future, vote for or against it based on your best interests, and taking in mind that these chemicals and that also that these jobs are going to affect our country and the communities that we live in and eventually raise our families in. So thanks.